All right, everyone. And look who I have here. I got Alex Lee, I have Herman Bandala, and I have Carlos Cruz. Guys, thank you for joining today.
What is up? Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
No, man. Thanks for coming in. This is going to be awesome. Now, before we get into this fun of Orion, I want to do a quick introduction with everyone because some of you guys haven't been on my show. Carlos has, but I want to start with Herman. Herman, you're originally from Mexico, moved to LA, moved to the Bay Area. I mean, how long you been in the Bay?
Thanks for having us.
How long? Man, it's been a while. I'd say 12 years almost.
Wow, that's a pretty long time. And you know, you've been in Hellfire all that long. I mean, how did you come to join Hellfire? Did you start it from the ground up, or?
Tony and I started the band like 10 years ago.
Okay.
I think like 3 months after I moved to San Francisco, I posted an ad on Craigslist, and
oh shit,
Tony answered it, and then we met up at this bar called The Broken Record, and we just talked about all the shit that we were into and that we love, and we just started jamming, and then we just got a bunch of people to jam with. You know, something wasn't clicking right off the bat with other people. We had to find the right metalheads, I guess, because at the time, new wave of British heavy metal and thrash was like not in. It was not cool, you know.
Everyone, totally in the Bay.
Yeah,
like exactly. 2000s or
we played with a bunch of like Tool and Alice in Chains wannabe bands. So
it was a different scene then in the Bay 10 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. So it was kind of rough. It wasn't until like a year after we formed that we played the Ron Quintana birthday party, and that's when we started just like meeting all these cool cats from the scene from back in the day. Yeah,
and that kind of helped the band out, and you're like, okay, we're cool now. Like we can play with other cats. Yeah. Right on, dude. Right on. Now I got Alex Lee. Alex, it's been a while since we talked and hung out, and I know right? You're. I mean, now are you a LA native, born and raised?
Yeah. Well, actually, born in West LA, and then moved out to the suburbs because parents couldn't handle just the LA traffic and just the LA scene in general. So we moved out to like Pomona, Chino, Ontario, like Inland Empire. So I mean, it's just about like a 25-30 minute drive without traffic to LA. So I'm still like in that scene, but I don't have to deal with the crap that goes on in LA.
Wow. All right. Yeah. LA traffic could be really pain.
Yeah.
And but I just want to let everyone know, you know, Alex is like one of the badass shredders from SoCal. He has his own YouTube channel, Ibanez Guy. You guys got to check it out. And he also plays in a band called Ibanez. Yeah. He also plays in a band called Holy Grail. And outside of being a shredder in music, and I've witnessed this firsthand, you're a black belt in yo-yo.
Oh yeah. I got like the whole
seen it.
Some of the collection above on the shelf.
Were you into yo-yo first or guitar first? I mean, how did you come into getting so good at yo-yo?
I think it all happened with anyone like around my age. In the 90s, you're in school, the yo-yo guy came to school, did the whole performance thing, and then the whole yo-yo boom of the 90s was like the big thing. So everyone had like a Duncan or like a Omega yo-yo at some point. And some people grew out of it, and I actually kept a lot of my my yo-yos from school, I guess in my old toy box or whatever. And I think when the whole YouTube thing started to get pretty big, it kind of got me curious as to see what was happening with like the whole yo-yo thing. If it ever went anywhere, or if it just died, because basically, as I was growing up, my parents never let me go anywhere. Like if I wanted to go to Chuck E. Cheese, it had to be because it's like my brother's birthday party or like my cousin's birthday. If it was like any of my friends, they're like, nah, I don't trust them. You know, they seem too weird, so you can't go. So go do yard work.
I'm on the same. I'm on the same boat with you. My mom was like that too. So yo-yo was your thing, huh?
Yeah. And then so
Well,
I guess that was the thing. It was it happened on tour, you know, and there's not much to do on tour but to drink and or to watch the band. So I remember popping out the laptop and going on YouTube and checking out to see if there's like any yo-yo competitions. And sure enough, there's like this whole like, you know, little community of like yo-yoers, I guess. And it like the tricks and everything just blew me away. So I kind of like dove into it. And then I started to get back into it like around, I think 2009, 2010.
okay. Well, speaking of diving into it, you know, hold on. Speaking of diving into it, this is pretty cool, you know?
From Holy Grail, and while I'm not playing guitar, I actually yo-yo, and it helps me relax while I'm on the road, and it keeps me very happy, and I like doing it because it brings me back to my childhood memories. So I recommend
Look at that!
doing it yourself if you really get into it. Yo-yos have really changed from back then to now, rather than the old tricks to walk the dog and rock the cradle. And it's even gotten to a competition level, so it's definitely fun. It's almost like learning a new sweep or a new tapping scale. It's pretty rad.
Dude, that's insane, bro. I mean, I've seen that firsthand on tour. When you were in Bonded by Blood and we did a tour together,
Yeah.
I was like blown away. Like, holy dude, I never seen anyone work the yo-yo like that.
That
You know,
was the start.
it's insane.
I could barely get
Have you gotten any better?
You know what? Nowadays, not so much because with work and just music in general, it's just
Yeah.
it's definitely, it became more of a passing time. And then like if I was to get into like the competitive level, it's kind of funny. It's like you'll have me, and then you got like the 5-year-old right there that's gonna beat my ass. So it's like,
Have
you know, rather
have you
than make
have you
it
been
so bad.
have you been in competitions?
I've been into one competition, and I guess I don't do well under pressure or under competition because they base everything by like a point based system. So if you execute a trick correctly, they give you a point. If you mess up, they give you a negative click.
Yeah.
So I think the whole thing of just like, you know, 5 judges watching you and your performance, I just completely like buckled under pressure. And then but I mean, like, going there is fun because like you meet a lot of people, and just seeing like where it's gone from just like the standard just going, you know, up and down to like all these crazy tricks that, you know, people are inventing right now.
Gotcha. Well, man, dude, that yo-yo thing is hella impressive. Now we're getting to Carlos. If some of you who's watched my stream, Carlos has been on one of my episodes a while back. If you haven't seen it, it's a good interview. Go check it out on our YouTube page. It's on the playlist, live and streaming. But to you know, make it short and sweet here, Carlos plays in Warbringer. He also plays in he has his own band called NecroSound, a one-man band, black metal band. He also plays in Ohm with Chris Poland from ex-Megadeth jazz fusion band, and many other projects. I just got one question to ask you, Carlos. Where do you find the time to do all that stuff, bro?
Man, that's a great question. I usually plan weeks ahead of like schedule. So I kind of keep a schedule and go, this is my calendar. This is the 7 days I have this week. How do I organize it to execute it all properly? So it's definitely a discipline, but that's just like one of many to maintain a balance. You know what I mean? It's like work here, friend there, lady there, family there. And weave in and out, you know, meetings here, practices there, recordings there. So yeah, very scheduled. Otherwise it wouldn't work. I'd just be like sloppy and all over the place.
I know, dude. You seem to have that like corporate America mentality. You know, you're constantly working. I mean, I follow you on Instagram. You're just like Warbringer playthroughs, fucking you got Ohm, you got fucking NecroSound, you got all this stuff. I guess you produce with some producer down in LA.
Yeah, so
and,
he's the producer who did the last 2 Warbringer records. So they've been gracious enough to have me back and do session work for them just as a player. If they have other artists that they're bringing into that studio, they have like the studio band, if you will. Even if you're not in that person's band, you know, they trust us to get, you know, the utmost quality in the studio setting. So yeah, it's been cool.
Cool, you know, and you know, I know you're in Warbringer. I know you've done all this metal stuff, but I do want to check this out right here. This is really sick. that's some pretty cool stuff, dude.
Awesome.
That's some pretty cool stuff. Yeah, I mean, awesome, dude. So everyone, I got these guys here. First of all, I want to thank you guys for doing Orion. It's always been in my head. I mean, to tell you the truth, it's one of my favorite songs. And plus, I always wanted to cover that tune. One, and two, it doesn't have any vocals. So that makes it a lot easier. I can't sing. So, I mean, I had some challenges on that song because the riffing is really tricky. I mean, it looks easy, but the way it's played, it's, you know, really tricky. So I had to, you know, buckle down and figure it out. Did you guys have any hard parts? It seemed like you guys it was a breeze for you guys.
I did the same that you did when I was doing like the scratch track for the bed track for it. I had to relearn all the riffs.
Yeah.
It was funny, but it's great. It's so much fun.
It is. It is. Herman, I know you recorded at Will's and you were like, man, it's kicking my, you text me and you go, dude, this song's kicking my ass.
Yeah, the solo was kicking my ass. It took me quite a few tries to nail that guy. And
now you use like a couple of basses, right, for that track?
Yeah, because like the Steve Harris bass that I used for most of the track only has 21 frets, and I needed 24 to record the solo. So I used the other, like a Schecter bass for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, but it sounded good. Alex, I remember we were texting about it, and I remember you asked me, do I have to play Kirk note by note? And I told you, well, he does have some memorable lines, but just add your flavor. And I think you did it justice, dude. I could see your flavor within Kirk's solo, and I thought, man, if only Kirk played it that way.
I know, right?
No.
Right? I mean, hey, it's cool. I dug it. I think it turned out great, man.
Kirk's like
it's tough because he definitely has a style, you know.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Style,
you know,
tone.
I mean, he's not one of those type of shredders who arpeggios out and goes crazy. He kind of writes for the song. He's kind of like he's singing it through his guitar. So that's what I always liked about Kirk's playing. You know, so when you text me, I'm like, just go ahead.
Like in his blues playing, it's like it's very hard to mimic at points. You know, like because his bends aren't so like just straight to the point. It's just like there's like little nuances to it that make it really unique, you know, that make it like, oh, that's Kirk, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I dug it. And, you know, I mean, my wife did the video, and I'll tell you a funny story about the video. We were going at it for a while with the edits. I was like, no, we got to do this, we got to do that. And, you know, she won on all the edits. She was like, nah, we got to make you guys look like a band. You know what I mean? You know, because we saw a lot of playthroughs. It's cool, but then she started doing her magic, and I thought it turned out really well. So I was like, oh, cool.
Great job.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she did. I lost on that one, but it was cool. Another funny story is when I reached out to Carlos, I go, hey, man, I want to do these playthroughs. Do you want to do one? And I remember you go, what song? And I go, Orion. You came back with, let's do it. So... And I didn't know Orion had so many different BPMs in the songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I tried to track it. I have a Tascam. I couldn't figure out. I just stuck to one BPM. I sent it to you, and I remember you sent it back going, here it is, bro. Guitars, bass, drums. I'm like, all right, bro. Okay, I'll get this done. Then you sent a track list with all the different BPMs and all that, which is really cool.
In case you wanted to build it on your own DAW or whatever you're working with. But it was one of those where I was listening to it live, like recently, to see what the arrangement was, and they play it so slow these days compared to the record. So I was like, all right, we'll keep it to the record, but time changes, you know, tempo changes, whatever it was. I did my best to keep it true to like the original, you know, Puppets recording as far as the drum goes. And that performance, because live, you know, he's just kind of throwing in fills here and there, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to keep it old school. No ride cymbal, no splash cymbals, no China cymbals, just kick, snare, hat, and, you know, the crashes, which is like the original. My buddy Steve.
And the gong.
And
forget about the gong,
forget about the gong. It was funny because when I heard it on the track, of course, I knew it was there in the middle, but we have one at Chris's studio, and it's hanging behind the door, and I was like, oh, shit, I'm totally using that. So I took it off the door and just put it on like a mic stand. So it was like, it came through. That was just lucky, but I'm glad I had it. It was awesome.
Yeah, and it sounded good. Now, Carlos, how long did it take you to record your track? Was it a day or two, or is
drums,
that something you knocked out on the drums?
Oh yeah, no, I did maybe like 3 passes because I'm sitting there by myself doing it all. So I had to like mic up the kit myself, run into the control room, make sure everything's working, check all the like 5 cameras I had, by myself, run back and forth. So maybe like 3-4 passes, and whichever one I felt was the closest without like too many flubs. I was like, fuck it, we're good. So a couple hours.
Dude, that ain't bad. It's funny when we were putting the video together and I was reaching out to everyone. Hey man, I need some video. Carlos, I was looking at you, and I say this out of a term of endearment. Yeah. What a motherfucker! This dude came with 5 camera angles already edited, and I was like, oh man, I was like, had to step up my game. I'm like, how am I going to do this, dude? Alex had to come with this nice HD camera. I'm like,
oh man, his is so clean.
I know it's so clean. And me and her.
I saw Carlos. I'm like, God damn, he's got some good production. I got to make it look nice too.
Yeah, Carlos came out. Me and Herman are all like, okay, what are we gonna do here?
Yeah, man, I was like pretty self-conscious about that. Like everyone's got a professional looking background, and I'm like in my fucking high school looking room.
Hey, you're keeping it old school, Herman. You're keeping it old school, bro.
Keep it real.
So yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit on a Metallica worship here. I mean, Orion came on. I knew I wanted to do that as a cover, and I knew who I wanted to do it with. And I want to thank you guys. You guys kicked ass on that one, and it got a lot of good responses. I'm really stoked that you guys got to jam on that one, man. It was fun. I hope you had fun as much as I did.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, but I mean, I've talked to Carlos about Metallica. I want to talk to Herman. Herman, I know you're a huge Metallica fan. We've touched upon it briefly, if you want to, how did you get into them?
Oh man, I became a metalhead because of Metallica. I think I was like 12 or 13, I forget. I was playing Mario Kart with my best friend at his house. And I told him, like, let's play some music like in the background or whatever. And he was like, all right, cool. I'm going to play some Metallica. And at the time, I was like, I was more like into punk rock, And I had seen like I Disappear and Enter Sandman. So I was like not really into it. So he put on Ride the Lightning. And at the time, I was really getting into classical guitar as well. So the first thing I hear is the intro to Fight Fire with Fire, and that shit, I was like, I thought you were gonna put on Metallica. I told my buddy, and he's like, just wait, And then of course it just took off, and I just blew my mind, and just went downhill after that.
Yeah, that's a good album to go downhill on. How about you, Alex? When did you get into Metallica?
Oh man, it's a funny story. So this happened like in 7th grade. My buddy, he was burning a bunch of CDs, and at the time it was like the cool thing to do. So he at first he burnt me a copy of Linkin Park. Okay, this like early 2000s. And he's like, oh dude, I got you the CD for Linkin Park. But what he did was that he messed up, and as he mislabeled it. He actually had the Black Album, but he mislabeled it as Linkin Park. So I'd never heard Linkin Park or Metallica at that point. And I mean, I've seen some MTV. Like that whole time was like the whole new like new metal and all, like Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit and Korn. And so when I listened to it, it was super heavy, and the production was really great. And I'm like, whoa, this is Linkin Park. This is amazing. But then when they played Linkin Park, I'm like, this what is this? I don't like this. This doesn't sound like Linkin Park. This is the CD that I have. And like, oh wait, no, that's Metallica. And so after that, like I went to the Borders nearby my house and just like went through like their whole catalog, because at the time you're able to like scan the barcode and it would give you clips of each song. Sick. And rather than like going from like Kill 'Em All, like I started off with like the Black Album, and then Master of Puppets, and like I went and backtracked their catalog to the point where when I heard Kill 'Em All, I was like, wait, this sounds like so different. Like it's more raw, but like it threw me off at that time because as like a junior high student, like it was so surreal just to see like the energy levels. It seemed like they just had like crazy amounts of energy when they began, and then just more refined as they went through the catalog. It was crazy, but that was my whole thing for a time in my life. I thought that Linkin Park was Metallica because of that CD.
Well, I'm glad your friend gave you the right CD instead of Linkin Park. And Carlos, I know we touched upon this on the episode I had with you, but you could tell it again for people who haven't seen that episode. Would you?
Brief, same age, give or take 11, 12, whatever. Family vacation. We're in Los Angeles and we were somewhere else. And at a record shop with my sister, she's digging through the CD. She finds Lightning and Puppets, goes, which one should I get? I have no clue who this band is. But at that point, we're already into, like everybody else, whatever the new metal thing of the early 2000s is, System of a Down and Slipknot. We're already into that. So then she picks up Puppets, and Puppets was my first, give or take around 11, 12 years old, and took off. Never looked back.
Never looked back. So did you go backwards or forwards with their catalog after Puppets?
Right after Puppets, maybe like within the week or two, I got Lightning. And then from there, I started to jump around. So those two were like quintessential and still my two favorite records of all time. And then I started to jump around. Friends gifted me some of the 90s stuff like Reload. And then another buddy gave me Kill 'Em All, and another buddy gave me Injustice. So it kind of jumped around from that point. And I think Saint Anger was just coming out and I was still new to it. I was like, well, this is fast. It's faster than all this new metal stuff like the System of a Downs and those types of bands. So I did like it. It didn't bother me because it was still new and I was still so young. Obviously going back now and looking at the big picture of the band and what they represent, obviously that doesn't rank in like top 5. But yeah, I just jumped around, but always Puppets and Lightning right here.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I discovered Metallica. I bought the first album in '83, Kill 'Em All. I mean,
Did you have the demo?
but I was too young. No, I didn't get the demo. My friends had the demo, the No Life Till Leather. I remember buying '83, Kill 'Em All, then I think '84 was right, but I didn't get to see them. I was too young then. I mean, I had an older brother who saw, it was the New Year's Eve show. It was Metallica, Exodus, Megadeth, I think Metal Church in San Francisco, New Year's Eve. And I think that same night, New Year's Eve, Slayer was playing Across the Bay in Ruthie's Inn. Yeah, I have to ask Brian Liu about that. And but it wasn't until Master of Puppets till I saw him. It was, I think, March of '86 at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. It was Metallica and Ozzy, and I'm sorry, but Metallica fucking blew away Ozzy. Like a lot of the people left right after Metallica played. It was insane. And from there on, I saw him on all albums. I saw him on Justice. I saw him at the Monsters of Rock. I mean, they're just a band that spoke to me. Like bunch of dudes that look like you know what I mean, just playing some heavy music, and they wrote good songs. The lyrics were cool. I mean, they just look like heavy metal superheroes where you could relate to, because back then, I mean, I had an older brother who listened to Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, all these big bands, but they look untouchable. But when Metallica came around, they didn't look untouchable. They were like, oh, all right.
Yeah, when you look the same
like us.
So you look the same on stage,
exactly.
Do on the street, rather than get all all digged up in your leather.
They have that punk rock vibe to them as well.
Yeah, totally. So that's how I got in. Puppets. Of course, Ride is a killer album. Don't get me wrong. I lean towards Puppets because more like I saw him on that tour. I was able to see Cliff
now when you
jam on that show.
When you first bought him, was it LP or was it cassette?
LP.
Sick. Original
pressing, Megaforce. I have all the original pressing. And I got all I happen to get all the box set that they release. And I'm gonna have to tell you, man, these guys save a lot of shit from their days. I mean, their box set's amazing. You have like demos, riff tape. It's amazing, But yeah, Master, I saw him on that tour. I was happy to see it, and that's why I have this soft spot in my heart for that album.
Okay. So with those box sets,
but
those box sets are badass. They do come just like jam packed with everything you'd ever want. They did remaster not remix, but remaster like some of the, all of the records slightly.
Yeah.
And like the biggest controversy it always gets to it's like they didn't touch And Justice for All's mix with the bass and that whole argument.
Oh yeah.
You guys as fans and everybody watching and listening, whatever, as fans, this is something I'm curious about because I'm actually working on something like this. If you have old records, classic records, whatever you want to call them, and they're going to be re-released, do you prefer that the artist leaves them alone and like it's a timepiece? It is how it is. You were you then, and you recorded it, and it's like you captured what it was in 2000 whatever. Or do you prefer that they take a chance as an artist and change it up mix wise so it sounds different, remaster it for the modern day, and then release it again?
That's a good question because I've talked to people like that. I'd rather have the artist remaster it because the mastering thing back then, technology come a long way where mastering just makes everything so much louder and brighter. I'm not into remixing or re-recording a record. I mean, because you cannot create that moment in time.
There you go.
Whatsoever. There's some magic to it where you're like, even though the production wasn't great, but it's just something about that time, like when I hear Destruction's Eternal Devastation record.
Yeah.
It's a horrible production, but I bought it during that time and I loved it then and I love it now. I mean, but whatever. You know what I mean? Just I'd rather have it remastered,
What do you guys think?
I think it's kind of cool if it's remastered, maybe mixed, but that's just for like for people who like really good production, but the benefit is even though if it's like remixed and remastered, you can, even if you still love the stuff in the past, you can still collect it. It's not like it's gone forever in a vault or lost in time. It's kind of like finding bands who do live shows. They have like live at Budokan or whatever. It's a totally different vibe from like the studio album. And to me, it's the same thing as like when people go and like remix and remaster classic albums. It's kind of cool to see a new take in like modern technology, but then if you don't like it, you don't have to listen to it, and then you can just go to your originals. But I think it's kind of cool. It kind of gives like the best of both worlds. You can still listen to the originals, and then you can still listen to what it would be with the modern production.
Good
Sometimes
answer.
like I
Herman.
feel like
Yeah, right. What do you think, Herman?
yeah.
I think it depends on the album, honestly. There's some sort of sacrilege with certain records where you just like don't touch them,
Sure.
You just can't fuck with them. There's other times where like if you have really good tools and you really know your mixing and mastering chops, like Dark Side of the Moon was remixed and remastered like almost 20 years ago. And there's stuff on there that sounds fuller. Like there's like stuff that like you couldn't hear in the first pressing.
Mm-hmm.
And after they remixed it and remastered it to the stereo 5.0,
yeah,
it just sounds fuller. It's got more depth. It's got like more definition. You can hear the bass more. You can hear Rick Wright's keyboards a little bit more, and it just, the tones are incredible. So I think it just depends on the album and the artist.
Yeah, that's like a major record. I mean, I know heavy metal fans in particular are like, do or die. It's like black or white, you know what I mean? Sometimes. Yeah. So you get some of the greats, like Exodus and Testament, who re-recorded classic records in a modern style. And then you have bands like Megadeth who just took the Capitol Records catalog and remixed them. Sometimes he had to do vocals again because he lost tracks or whatever the hell. So that's what I'm getting at. A lot of younger fans or new fans, or it's just you're being introduced to these bands, and this is the first impression you get is classic record or classic songs, but modernized. And maybe those are out of print, those old school ones. So you got to do some deep dive. I'm just curious. As a fan, as a listener myself, I prefer, like Ted, the originals. This is, like you said, a moment in time that you recorded and captured. Leave it as it is. You're not going to go redo, touch up the whatever grand you find or whatever.
Also, too, I mean, especially thrash metal or metal, if you're gonna redo an album, do a live album. You know what I mean? Do the album in its entirety live. If you want people to hear what it represents today, a live album will do it justice. But just don't touch the classics. You know what I mean? Speaking of that, I think I was at Rob Cavastani's house like a while back, and he played me. I think it was ELO. Like, was it Jeff Lynne? Is that the dude in ELO?
Yeah.
He re-recorded the classic songs, and it sounds exactly the same. So I was like, you couldn't tell the difference. It was just mastered a little louder. I was like, holy, his voice still sound the same and everything. I was like, holy shit. So he did it right. You know, it probably took him a long time to retract that whole thing, but it was awesome. So, but that's a good one, Carlos. You got me thinking.
Yeah, they didn't touch Injustice for All. You know what I mean? They mod, you know, they did what they could do for the bonus stuff and all the box set stuff, but still sounds the same. You know, they still preserve that point of time, regardless of that major argument.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Hey man, let me see here. I'm gonna get to some fan questions here. Let me see if I could pull this up here. Here we go. You guys ready? Check this out. Check this out. Here we go.
Hey guys, pack member Scott here from Dallas. Hey, great job on the Orion video. And that made me wonder, what's your favorite Metallica deep track? And what's your favorite deep track from your band? Of course, my wife wanted to ask you, what's your favorite Frank Sinatra song? But don't worry about that. If you can answer my questions, that'd be great. Hey, rock on. Thanks so much.
Badass question.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's like 3 questions. Favorite deep Metallica track. Let's start with that one.
Ooh, deep cuts. Deep cuts.
Yeah. We'll start with you, Carlos.
Damn. I mean, it's hard to like the first 5 records. I like every song. There's really like I don't find anything that faults. Even people that like will vote on the popular songs, whatever. Deep cuts. Anything Mustaine had a hand in, kills. You know, it doesn't get the attention that you say some of the other tracks on that same record, or even Kill 'Em All or Ride the Lightning. But I mean, like Escape kills, or, you know, different vibes.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially when it's coming after Trapped Under Ice and then Creeping Death, which is one of their best songs like ever. Right after it, it doesn't matter. It still kills. Yeah, some of those deeper ones, thing that should not be, Leper Messiah. The B side of Injustice is, you know, those long songs with millions of riffs. The B side of Black Album, there's a lot of cool shit. Yeah, it's a tough one, just because I enjoy it all. You know, I'll find. I mean, I couldn't tell you the track listing for Load and Reload off the top of my hand. Maybe the A side, maybe the singles, but I mean, after Black Album, like to tell you the order of the tunes and what's what.
Yeah, same here.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, same here. How about you, Alex? Do you have it? We'll go in order the B sides of any bastard tracks of Metallica that you like. Guilty pleasure.
You know what? Probably another instrumental, Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
That was another one we could have covered with no lyrics.
Yeah, that's a really good one, man. I mean, yeah, that takes you on a musical journey. How about you, Herman?
Yeah, it's kind of tough to say. I mean, I love all the songs they did for the first 4 albums, but I'm gonna go with a deep cut. I'm gonna do Anesthesia, man.
Oh,
That's my Bible right there.
That's your jam.
You know, like picking up the bass in high school and trying to learn that was just all the training I needed. And I don't know, like Cliff's always been my favorite member of Metallica, and I've been obsessed with his sound since I was like 15. So yeah, Anesthesia, Pulling Teeth.
Yeah, that's a good one. And it's really cool how on that album they actually gave him a bass solo. It was pretty unheard of back then.
Exactly, yeah.
Hey man, why don't you have a bass solo on our album? You know, it's like, and it's a killer bass solo at that, you know.
Yeah.
I would have to go with it's between 2 songs. Escape from Ride the Lightning. I really dig that song. And I have to go with the last song on the Black Album, The Struggle Within. That song, it's the last song in my opinion where Kirk does a thrash metal solo, because after that it's all bluesy.
Yeah,
that was the last, you know, like he goes off the solo, then he rips. Then when I got Load, I was like, oh, okay, that's it, you know. He started to get more bluesy, which is cool. It fit for the vibe then, but The Struggle Within and Escape would be my two bastard tracks of Metallica. Now, what would be the deep cuts of your own band that you like? Carlos. We'll start with Carlos.
Which band? God damn.
Let's say Warbringer.
Warbringer. So deep cut, let's see. Ooh, I'm trying to think of the 4 out of the 4. I'll probably go to the first record I did with the band in 2011. It's called Worlds Torn Asunder. On the B side, there's a lengthier tune. I think it was more like a studio thing. We wrote it in the garage and tried to jam it, but it was like my first writing credit with the band. You know, I'm the new member, I'm the drummer. I'm just trying to, you know, fill in and learn the dynamic of the band still. It's called Echoes from the Void. A little lengthier song. A little more musical, a little more technical, maybe for the Warbringer. You know, at that point, Warbringer was just meat potatoes. It's a thrashing band. You know what I mean? So yeah, that'd be mine. You know, I introduced just a different quality to it that I find developed into the records, my writing style in the records since then. So I'm gonna say that one.
All right, I'm gonna have to check that one out. How about you, Alex? I know you've been in Bonded by Blood and Holy Grail, but let's stick with Holy Grail. What song? What's the deep cuts that you like or one deep cut?
It was probably one that was supposed to be on the Crisis in Utopia album, which obviously I wasn't in, but it was called For All Eternity. You can probably still find it on YouTube. Like they played it live. But yeah, that was the fact after I joined the band. But for Bond, it'd probably be like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme we did for Feed the Beast.
All right, that's right. You're a video game freak and you know, old school like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff. I gotta check that one out. How about you, Herman? The deep tracks for you.
I've got two bands. One is Hellfire, and the other one's Molten, which is more like a thrash death type of band based out of here in San Francisco. I'd say with Hellfire, for our second record, Free Again, there's the last song, our ballad, I guess. It's called End of Days. It's
Have you played that one live?
We played it a couple times. Yeah, it's like 7 minutes long, and it's it's not difficult, but it's like tricky because of the time signature changes, and Jake really has to be on, like his vocals are insanely good on that track. So he's been like wailing and singing his ass off all night long. He has to like reserve some energy for that motherfucker. It's a long song. And for Molten, I'd say we're gonna put out a record this year, and it's a long song called Rising Embers. We put a lot of like Bach influence in there. Oh. It's like 10 minutes long too. So I like the proggy long tunes that we've done.
Boom.
That's awesome, man. I mean, with Death Angel, there's one tune I really, really love that we only played it once, and it was at our Christmas show. It's the last song off The Dream Calls for Blood. It's Territorial Instinct Bloodlust. And oh man, for some reason I love that tune. I mean, Rob's solos are amazing. The riffs, the way Mark sings it, it's just an epic journey. And we only played it once, and I always keep wanting to play it, but no one listens to me anymore. So, but that's like, I wish we could bring that back. So hopefully we'll bring it back. How about a Frank Sinatra tune? And I'll be honest, I'll answer this first. I'm not familiar with Frank Sinatra, but his hits, but I'm sure you guys might be familiar with them.
Yeah, the two that come to mind would be either Fly Me to the Moon.
Okay.
Or My Way. I did it my
way, yeah. Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one. Alex, Frank Sinatra, you like Frank Sinatra?
That's the thing. It's just like I'm bad with names, but like if I hear a song, I'm like, oh, there it is, So I'll have to say I'm not sure.
That's okay, Herman. Come on, Herman.
It's a tough one. I love Sinatra. I'm gonna say That's Life.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. All right. Yeah. There you go. Well, there you go. Scott Dockendorf, we answered all your questions. And before we get to this next video question, I want to give a shout out to our bro, Daniel Decay, who played the video on his live stream on Twitch yesterday. Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate it. And I'm going to play you another question here. Let's see.
What's up, guys? Great rendition of Orion. We had a lot of fun watching that. One cool thing about the pandemic is these collaboration videos, they're all pretty fucking awesome. But our question is, if you all had to set down your instruments today and head out into the world, what would be your chosen profession? Not something like that you'd have to do to pay the bills, you know, strapping a mattress on your back and hitting the corner or something, but what would you want to do if you couldn't be in a band? Later.
Damn, that's a good question.
Yeah, that's deep. It's deep.
Stumped.
I'll go first. Dude, I used to work at a musical repair shop, and I like fixing electronics. You know, I like to, you know, I want to learn how to build stuff. Like, how does this work? I like soldering things. I like, you know, putting things in a chassis and wiring things up, and, you know, learning about all this ohmage and, you know, like capacitors and all that. So I geek out on that stuff. So that's what I'd do. I'd get into that sort of trip.
I'm over here,
right.
like, give me music or give me death.
Yeah. Carlos, what would you do, bro?
Shit. It'd probably be something I'd still put my mind to and like study and, you know, accept that I'd be forever a student. Before music, for 7 years before really getting into drumming and music in general, I was into martial arts. So I was pretty damn close to a black belt. I studied Taekwondo and Hapkido for a good like 7 years. And once music came in, I moved, you know, further away from the dojo. I moved or got into high school and, you know, got into the bands in the backyard, party gig and all that type of thing. So I'd probably just, you know, bounce from the States and go somewhere, study, try to get that black belt. That's still a goal of mine.
Go to Orion.
Like, yeah, go study with, you know, some grandmaster or something of the sort. I think that'd be cool, and just put my time and energy into something like that.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
If I didn't,
that's
you
awesome.
know, if I didn't need to pay the bills, you know, if I could just go do
totally.
tournament or whatever.
Yeah, you go over to the Shaolin Temple or something, huh? Where you don't got to do anything, just work out.
That'd be dope.
Yeah. Alex, what would you do if you had put down the instrument and just go and to the real world?
You know, actually, I used to always want to be. I've wanted to become a veterinarian when I was little because my cousin was a vet. And you know, I love animals, and that was the thing that I was really interested in doing. But other than that, I always thought, like, you know, video game programming would be pretty cool. But yeah, probably one of the two. But yeah,
I could see you being a veterinarian, bro.
Yeah,
and a video game programmer and all that. So you look like you're good with animals.
Oh, whammy.
Yeah. Herman, how about you, bro?
Before I moved to the States, I did a year in Mexico studying civil engineering. So probably that. If not that, I'd say anthropology. I've always liked different cultures all around the world, so that would be something that would be pretty cool to tackle.
Damn, man, you guys, those are some good ass backgrounds and stuff. That's awesome. Hey, there's this one question that came into this feed.
Yeah,
it's for Alex. What's up with Holy Grail? Are you guys writing new stuff? You want to give us the update on Holy Grail?
I haven't talked to them since the pandemic started. If that, I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. I mean, everyone they all have like their own lives, and you know they're definitely dealing with, you know, their own you know, personal lives. I mean, the last I heard with them is we had a few tracks that were, you know, demoed out. So I'm just basically waiting on them, seeing what's going to happen. But who knows? Hopefully we'll come together. But yeah. Sorry, I wish I had a more, you know, better answer for that.
That's honest. That's the real.
Yeah.
You know, real
That's an honest answer.
Yeah.
Real deal. But to touch upon that, you're writing a solo record, right, Alex?
Ooh,
Exactly. I'm not trying to rush it as much because, you know, like with all of us, everyone's trying to just cram as much music as possible. So rather than just kind of getting it lost in like all of like the 100 other releases that are happening, you know, I kind of want to really take my time and like really build on it. And then I mean, I still need I don't want to program drums, but I need an actual drummer and you know, some actual musicians to play with it. I'll talk to you later, Carlos.
Yeah.
Carlos and Herman right here. They'll probably fucking shred all over that stuff. Now, what type of album is it? Is it more like shredding guitars type, or what's the style?
A little bit of everything. Yeah, I mean, I had an idea of like this whole concept album where it starts off with like a lot of my early influences to basically transitioning into like my modern influences of now. So kind of like a discography of like my influences from the beginning to like Randy Rhoads stuff to Van Halen to now with like Guthrie Govan and like all the crazy jazz fusion guys. But it's kind of all over. I think in general it's just gonna have a good vibe of like the old school, like Joe Satriani meets like old school video game kind of flavor.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's the whole vibe right now. But we'll see. You know, like I have like a whole big idea, but that's what it is as of now.
And it's always music. I mean, when you're writing, it's always evolving. It doesn't stick to one skeleton. It just keeps evolving. And I'm sure you know that. You probably made a lot of revisions on your record. Another person on the feed says, Carlos is a beast from Chris Contos. Chris Contos. Yeah, that dude. I've known Chris Contos. That dude's a beast of a drummer too. I've known Chris Contos when he was in Verbal Abuse. And I remember when he started in Machine Head. Great guy, great BMX dude. I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Just yeah, dude. I mean, cool guy, Chris. Right on, Chris, for jumping in. And there's this Eric Sire. It's a question for all four of us. Ever consider getting something going? All of you guys. Instrumental metal with a space touch is really lacking in the sound picture of the genre.
Ooh, that'd be fun, right?
Oh yeah.
It would be fun. It would be fun to do. You know what I mean? Right now, I mean, like I said, with Orion, I just wanted to do something with you cats because, I've toured with you guys. We've hung out quite a few times and just, had a good time. And I was like, these guys would be good. And I had a good time doing it. But who knows, Eric Sire? Who knows what the future holds? We shall see. All I know is these guys are super busy. I know Herman, you mentioned Molten's got a new record coming out. Could you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, we recorded it last year with Greg Wilkinson at Earhammer Studios. He's done he's recorded Necrod and a bunch of bands from the scene, like punk rock and death metal. So we're really stoked on that. Yeah, we just got the final mixes. We're gonna master it and put it out this year.
Awesome, man. I can't wait to check that out. And Carlos, I know you're a busy cat. I follow you on Instagram. NecroSound's doing good. It's getting a lot of promotion across the world. And, I know Warbringer is getting a lot of good hype too. But, with what's going on in the world, everything's on a standstill. But you seem to be busy. Music's coming out of you and people are really digging it from around the world. So that's cool.
Yeah.
You want to talk more about it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, last fall we did 58 shows in 60 days, and that was just if anybody got that opportunity, now they jump on it immediately to get the what I mean? But pretty much from that, I wanted to do the opposite. So give or take last fall into winter, I was just cool, just let me start writing and flip the script. And now with everything on hold until probably a year from now, realistically, for Warbringer anyway. I just started writing and seeing what else music had to offer and the other side of the coin. You can play, you can write, but the studio's one environment, composing's a different environment, working with other people is another. So yeah, I mean, I'll be working more with Ohm and Chris Poland on some solo Chris Poland stuff, so more like Alex's solo record idea, more guitar oriented, and the variety of that. The more immediate thing would try to be to do some more playthrough stuff for the Warbringer record. It's a brand new record, and I still want to be able to give it to the people, the best we can, maybe a live set thing and make it on demand or something like some of these bigger bands are doing. Could be a cool project to work on. And then the band I was in before Warbringer is called Hexen. So me personally, I don't own those records on vinyl. They were only ever printed on CD, from those independent record companies. So I've been doing some deep diving and trying to get them pressed on vinyl and re-released into the world. That's why I asked you earlier about that question about, touching the mix again or just leaving it as is and letting it be a timepiece. So yeah, lots coming out. So projecting already for 2021 that maybe like 3 records, re-releases or whatever will be in the works till then.
Wow. Well, dude, one thing I've noticed too, congratulations, you were on the re-release of Chris Poland's Metropolis, right?
Yeah.
You played on some B tracks.
Oh,
Yeah,
sick.
that's awesome. I remember that record because I think it was 90. Am I correct? Was it 90?
That's why I'm tripping.
Yeah, that record came out. I could tell you a story. I remember Death Angel was on tour for Act 3 and Chris Poland was on those shows when Metropolis came out. And that's when they didn't come to the Bay Area because the accident happened and Death Angel broke up right after that. But I remember that album Metropolis and it was pretty sick. And you were on the B tracks, right? Other tracks.
So this re-release that he hooked up with David Ellefson of Megadeth, who now owns a portion of Combat, and him and the main producer for this record re-released it. Also, it's the original album, and then they added the second disc with all the extras. So there's some tracks with myself and Chase Bryant of Warbringer, our new bassist, as his rhythm section on some new material. So there's 4 new songs on like the bonus disc, if you will.
Gotcha.
Some other live stuff. So pretty much it was a re-release where you still get the classic record from 90 and then some extra stuff of him writing now, just to package it well and update it. It's been 30 years. So no, it's crazy. When you open the vinyl and my name was all over it and he's thanking me and saying some incredible words, I was like, dude, you kidding me? Like my hero, and every time I walk into the room, they're shredding. I'm like, the hell am I doing here?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I saw Chris Poland with Megadeth. It was 1986. It was Motorhead on a Gasmatron, Megadeth on P-Cells, and I think Cro-Mags on Age of Quarrel. And Megadeth destroyed, man. It was at the Henry J. Kaiser in Oakland. I was like, whoa, dude. And Chris Poland has a really unique style of playing his leads compared to Marty and was it Jeff Young on So Far, So Good, So What? Yeah, Chris has a really unique, like jazzy flavored style. Same with Gar, the drummer, Gar Samuelson.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
probably my favorite Megadeth lineup, and definitely influenced me to dive into that world, the jazz fusion world, their background, because when you hear it's like, oh, well, you have like the big 4, and out of that, what are your influences? And, the punk rock stuff or the new album stuff. But when this band is starting to mention fusion bands or specific jazz musicians, and then bring that in, Chris tells me the stories all the time, low key, where he's like, if you're going to do an interview, Chris, don't say you like John McLaughlin, say you like Michael Schenker. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. Back in the day, we're a metal band, goddammit. You know what I mean? So stuff like that I always found pretty funny.
Wow. Hey, dude, check it. I'm going to read off one question before we sign off soon. This dude, Richard Bexborn, he goes, for all of us, ever thought of bringing your music into the gaming platform? His company, Play and Go, has had Testament, Sabaton, Candlemass, Annihilator doing stuff with them. You guys are gamers. I know Alex is a gamer. And Herman. You ever thought of, putting your own your music on gaming platforms? I mean, I always wanted to, but I don't know who to contact for that.
Exactly.
Gaming is not my world, But now we got this guy. I'm going to contact you or contact us. We'd love to be on your gaming platform. I know, Alex, you could probably write all this crazy shit,
Yeah, it would depend on
like Super Mario.
Like I know
What's up, Carlos?
I know it's difficult. See something like that with the business end of things, if you're a part of a record label or substantial, organization or anything like that, to get your music licensed in order to do that can be pretty tricky, because that company, whoever is going to put it on whatever platforms, that they battle a lot. You know what I mean? Who's going to get what percentage of what, who's going to do what? It's all business, so that is tricky. But good friends of mine, and I've been doing it since high school, where if they're like a producer of some sort and they just want a guitar player, I've been able to do it. So a good friend of mine just started his own company. It's called Get It Done Records. Shout out to Trevor, a longtime friend from high school. So pretty much he just signed a deal with BMG, which pretty much does all of the, think of it like music for visual media. So your ads, your TVs, your commercials, your games, your whatever. So it's been something I've been able to tap into a little bit, but usually, like you said, original compositions that have nothing to do with any of your bands or any other affiliation with a label or anything like that is a hell of a lot easier. just
a lot easier.
There you go. So if
Carlos,
if we combine these questions and say, Eric, who's asking for original music from us, then we can hit up.
Yeah.
Hey man, nobody owns this, so boom.
Yeah.
Tag team it.
Now, Carlos, I want to. This is a good segue into my next question. With NecroSound, you own everything, so you don't want to be it on the label. You want to have total control of NecroSound. Yeah,
that was the point. Again, it was an experiment. I wanted to dive into sitting in the producer's chair, sitting in the mix engineer's chair, and just kind of have fun. Not take it too seriously and not include so many business personnel. You know what I mean? To kind of just pinch at it. So again, it was just a passion project, not for profit, not for world domination. It was really just fucking something cool for me that I decided to share, and everybody else picked up on it. So for now, it'll be DIY. It's been completely out of pocket. Completely, like 100%. So hell if I know if I even recouped yet from everything I've invested into it, but I don't care.
Yeah.
It's just straight from the heart, you know what I mean? And to the people that like it, cool, I'll do more of it. So yeah, it's just my own education is just to do and learn, while doing it. That's pretty much it.
That's good. Well, we're coming to a close because I know it's a busy Saturday for everyone, me and everyone. First of all, I want to thank you guys for coming on the stream.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to thank you guys for, jamming Orion. I had so much fun, and I'm glad I got you guys on. I hope you had fun. Now, I'm going to start with Alex. The floor is yours. If you want to go promote anything you need to promote about yourself, your Instagram, anything, your bands, floor is yours, Alex.
Yeah, basically, just hit me up on Instagram. I've been this guy 88. If you want to see anything guitar, yo-yo, and video game related, it's there. Holy Grails, we're pretty bad at the whole marketing, so we'll post very rarely. But check me out. I'm pretty active, so we'll catch you then.
Before that, do you give guitar lessons, Alex?
Yeah, I do. You can hit me up on either Facebook or on Instagram. Whenever I have time. I do work a full-time job too, so whenever I have the chance to, I usually do some few lessons here and there.
Cool. So all you people who want to be shredders, look this guy up because he'll show you a thing or fucking 1,000 or something. Herman, the floor is yours, Herman, if you want to do some promo, bro. My man.
Check us out at Hellfire Metal on Instagram and Facebook. Same with Molten Metal. We're right now we're still working on new material with both bands. Trying to stay active. Like I said, we're gonna release a new record with Molten. It's gonna be called Dystopian Syndrome, which is very fitting for fucked up shit that's going on. All around the world.
Yeah.
And with Hellfire, we're actually gonna go to Tony's house to demo some new songs. Jake, Mike, Tony, and I are gonna lay down some rough mixes, and hopefully we'll have a new record early next year. On that note, I don't have an Instagram. That
dude,
69.
Dude.
Okay, this is a funny story.
Tell it, Herman. Tell it.
The road with Hellfire, everyone like Tony, Jake, and Mike were always giving me shit. You got to start an Instagram account or whatever. And I was like, nah, I'm not really a social media guy. I started Facebook out of necessity, honestly. And then Mike, so I was just like making a bunch of stupid memes and stupid pictures of friends and bands or whatever. And Mike compiled everything and made a false Instagram account. And it just blew up, and like everyone thinks it's me, but it's really Mike.
I thought it was you, bro.
Yeah.
I thought it was you. But
Which,
cool,
I
man.
mean, today's his birthday, by the way. So shout out to Mike Smith, our drummer.
Mike Smith.
Happy birthday, brother.
Happy birthday, dude.
Good player.
Carlos, the floor is yours, my man.
Thanks. Yeah. You can go to warbringermusic.com. But if you just hit my Instagram, which is _Carlos.Cruz _ complicated. You'll find pretty much everything I do, everything I'm a part of. It's usually just that platform. So you can hit me up on there, check it out, etc. And you'll find the rest of it. So appreciate it. Thanks for having us, Ted.
No, thank you for coming. And before we go, I want to thank all my live and streamers who joined. The Claire Wilsons, the Darren Diggles, the Scott Dockendorf, Pat Thompson, Rainier from Canada, Mike Bacali, Eric Larson. I remember all these people because I do look at the comments when it's all said and done, and it's really cool how you guys chat amongst each other. It's like a community. And thank you for joining in every time I do this. And thanks for having an open ear to all the guests that I've had on. Go check out all their stuff. It's cool. I'm here to promote good stuff. I like sharing music and I like helping my friends out. And it's time for some positivity in this time of the world. So thanks to everyone. Guys, stick around till we're done so we can have a post-mortem. And thanks everyone out there who tuned in. And I'll catch you next week because I have a killer guest coming in next week. See you guys.
Thank you all.